Lyndon Batiste, we are talking about 90 Days of Violence. He's a young citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, an author of this beautiful book that has just come. I'm saying it's beautiful, I haven't read it. I have to be honest with you. And he's told me also that he's the publisher of the book, so God knows, after he publishes it, that's when he's going to get the critique. So, you know, we're keeping our fingers crossed. But, Lyndon, what is exciting about this is, all this piece of work of fiction, it is based on our good old Trinidad and Tobago, and on the issues that are very much real to the citizenry. So I need to go back to the fundamentals and ask you what you think of Trinidad and Tobago.
What do I think of Trinidad and Tobago?
I mean, how do you feel about this country that the Great Spirit has dumped you on?
I think it's a beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places that any person could choose to live in. There are some key issues regarding the country.
In governance or the... You know,
I think, you know, people tend to, there's this thing about projection where there's some issue in the health sector, there's some issue in the crime, and we try to project it on the government. We have to take some of the responsibility also, because what I've attempted to do in this book is show that, you know, yes, there are things happening in terms of crime, but at the end of the day, this Prime Minister that I have, his Minister of National Security and his cabinet, they're human beings, and they are reacting to it also. So I think that's something, we need to stop that projection of failure.
Do you think that's because of decades of psychological and emotional dependency?
I don't know if it's colonialism.
A lack of nationalism, patriotism rather, a lack of love of patria.
I think there's an issue of brotherhood. I really think it's an issue of brotherhood.
We need to be able to...
Yes, we need to be able to come together. If it's a simple cause as the price of gas goes up, you know, the same way that the government would like to project their voices onto us, it's the same way, I mean, certainly the headlines of the papers you were showing earlier, we need to project our voice. We have a voice too, you know. Are we being heard is the question. So that's my take on Trinidad. Are
we expressing ourselves the way we need to as well? You know, they say, I don't know how accurate this is. It used to be accurate a few years ago, but they say at least 60% of the entire population of Trinidad and Tobago is under the age of 24. Now, anywhere else in the world, that is a remarkable resource, because usually you have to deal with the veteran citizens who are the wider percent. And what we have here is this remarkable resource, this sleeping giant that is ready to do all sorts of wonderful things. Now, that can go either way. It can go positively or it can go negatively. What do you see from your research to do this book that we need to do to be able to mobilize not only the actual physical resource, but the thinking and the emotional intelligence of this young resource that is just so much a blessing for any kind of country?
Okay, it's interesting that you asked the question, because in the book I have this character who lives a life of alcoholism, and he's blessed with a teenage daughter, and very, very negative impact, you know, on her life. And there has to be some point that a character, in terms of human beings or in fiction, you need to recognize that I need to take a hold of myself. So it'll be similar to the parents taking command of the child. All right, there are certain other things that need to be in place. I believe, all right, for instance, you know, something as simple as checking your school bag or monitoring your child's internet usage. All right, so because these are the mediums where we could be led astray. That is the situation that Ambrose Taylor faces in this book too, that he has to make decisions for the country. All right, so it's all about the individual, as I said earlier, making the decision, and we have the Prime Minister, the government, making the decision, so we could function as a unit rather than two entities with a big gap. All right.
Does Ambrose Taylor, you say?
Yes, Ambrose Taylor.
Seventh Prime Minister. How does he deal with? Does he have the same kind of conditions that we have here in Trinidad and Tobago? Oil and gas rich, and young people making up the citizenry, and island economy.
Yes, he has the same thing. So I focus, you know, some international relations in it. The struggle is real in terms of, because he's inheriting a nation that is plagued with violence, security issues. He's inheriting a nation that is filled with inflated prices, the dissatisfaction of the people. So the big question is, you know, what do I do? And it's the same thing that's going to happen to Obama, all right, within on the 4th of November. And yes, the change is good, but the reality is we have
some
the
serious
financial
work to do.
crisis. Yeah, so we have serious
We're going to
work
have to
do.
buy the book to find out what goes on, but
Right.
does he manage with it, or is he completely, does he implode because of the overwhelming challenge of dealing with this?
Ooh, I think that's a question that I'll have to leave
You
up
have
to the
to
book.
leave it, yeah.
I'll have to leave that up to the book. But it is a man's struggle with seeing the growing crime. It is about that struggle, and it is about trying to do things properly, appealing to the nation. You know, trying to be more transparent, speaking. All right, we want to, you know, why instead of me bashing you or the media, let me come on Gayelle and talk to you all. All right, share my opinion. Let me, you all call in and speak to me. All right, so we're trying all the different mediums, appealing, television, paper. All right, but it doesn't seem to work, and that's where the people come in for that support mechanism.
Where have we got with 90 Days of Violence? Where is it at this point? It's been published. It's going to be published. You're
It's
going to
being
have a launch.
printed right now, and it will be available on the 13th of November in Charon's Bookstore in Trinity. Because I'm managing it by myself and my dad and other few supporting items. You know, I'm trying to keep it small.
Yeah, but you're going to have to make arrangements for it to be available at good bookshops all over Trinidad and Tobago, and indeed the Caribbean if people are interested.
Yes, so that's where I'm starting. I'm starting with Charon's, and then hopefully I'll be able to network from there.
If you're challenged to come up with a very short message or synopsis of what you want to achieve by having people read this document, which is supposedly fictional, what would you say is the message?
What is the message? The message is that, again, we need to do it together. It is about the government leading us. We need to we need to not project failure from government to people or people to government. So that's the message that I would like to
Since we have you on the set, and since we are very much fresh in the celebration of the fact that it's the first African-American president, and not only that, but a man who seems to be very intelligent, a man who has brought change and hope to a flagging nation, which just happens to be the most powerful nation in the free world. How do you feel about all that's happened in the last few days?
I am very excited about it. I look forward to seeing what he does with the challenge of pulling the economy. I'm very much absorbed by, you know, his take on we need to do it together. You know, in the presidential speech he made is about the person next to you. All right, we're going to see tough times in Trinidad. We're going to see tough times too. All right, but we need to pull together when it's necessary to get things done.
Because of your research, you must have had to come to terms and appreciate very much the kind of systems that make things work. I mean, you have power. You become the president or the prime minister of a country, but you have to deal and treat with all kinds of systems to be able to get what you want to happen.
Right.
Do you think Barack Obama is going to be able to do all of this?
Well, what we see now is that he's starting to pull together his cabinet.
His transitional
so
team.
He appointed the Secretary of State, Emmanuel is his name.
Right.
So it is interesting to see, you know, who he's pulling as the treasurer. He realizes, and I mean, you've seen it in the news a lot, that he needs to pull key people together because he may not have the experience on the foreign policies, but that's where other people could come in. Joe Biden.
What do you think, what do you hope might happen for the Caribbean area on whatever level with Barack Obama being President of the United States?
I am interested in seeing what the relations is going to be like with Latin America, Hugo Chavez. All right, because that was something that was highly ignored during the Bush administration.
Right.
And
ignored, you think, or just
ignored?
Right.
All right. Colin Powell was somebody that even pointed that out. So it'll be interesting to see what he does and how, more importantly, Hugo Chavez reacts to him. All right, because as they say, the Caribbean and Latin America is the backyard of America.
How do you think he should deal with Cuba, for instance, and the embargo that has been there for 40-something years?
How do I think
I would just lift it. I mean, what do you think he should do?
What he should do? Yeah. What should he do to Cuba?
Caribbean island, I mean, they're not very, it's debatable whether they're communists and all that kind of stuff. They're, you know, socialist or whatever. They've just done their own thing and they've managed to do wonderful things.
Yeah, after all the years.
Yeah.
And it will be nice in that instance to see the relations grow there. I mean, if it means the eventual, they'll lift the sanctions or the blockades that they have against them, all right, for the benefit. I mean, it'll be unfortunate to see what, I mean, I don't want to say negative influence, but, you know, Castro has been trying to push that dream of the brotherhood. All right, so I wouldn't like the introduction